Welcome, everybody, to today's BookFunnel Basics Q&A session. My name is Jack. I am our lead author support specialist here at BookFunnel. I also run our webinars and everything, and glad to have you guys here with us today. We are going to be going over some of the basics of BookFunnel, answering your questions primarily. Hopefully, you've all had the chance to, if you're new to BookFunnel, watch some of our beginners sessions specifically. And I'm going to switch tabs here over to the BookFunnel YouTube channel. We have our Getting Started series. When you visit the BookFunnel YouTube channel, these will be at the very top. These two videos here. The BookFunnel Basics Getting Started is going to show you the very basics. It is going to be very fundamental. How do you create your first pen name? How do you upload your first book? Create your first basic landing page? That covers all of that stuff. It's a pre-recorded session, and so it also has a Q&A segment of its own in there that's pre-recorded, but you can always put comments on either of these orientations with questions you might have, and I respond in the comments on YouTube as well. So that's another way for you to get your questions answered at your own pace, at your own leisure. And then the BookFunnel Basics group promos is a follow-up session that we added to go over specific questions about BookFunnel promos, introducing all that and so forth. So how today is going to work is basically, I'm going to go over a couple things on the dashboard just to kind of review a few of them. Just to make sure that everybody kind of knows where everything is. We'll maybe do just kind of a once over of the dashboard, but then we'll get to your questions. We have some questions that have been submitted in advance by folks who weren't able to attend this time, but that's kind of the way things are going to go. I'll show you guys some stuff on the dashboard here just to make sure that we all know kind of where everything is. And then we can go ahead and start taking questions. And at that point, you can put those questions in the Zoom chat. All right. So here on the dashboard, I just want to do a quick overview, like I said, to make sure that everybody kind of is familiar with the dashboard at the very least before we get into some questions here, because I don't want anybody to be lost if you're not super familiar yet. I'm not going to assume that everybody here knows everything about BookFunnel. This is a beginner's Q&A, so I would imagine that some of you are going to be very new. Maybe you just signed up for BookFunnel and you happen to sign up at the right time, right? Maybe you signed up within the last week or something. And some of you may have been using BookFunnel for a few months, maybe even a year now, but you feel like there's some things that you don't know or some things that you need to know and so forth. So I want to go over the dashboard here first before we dive into some questions, just to get everybody oriented. So here we are on the Home tab, and on the Home tab, this is where you're actually going to see, I'm going to rearrange my Zoom window just a little bit, folks. 1 second. This always winds up happening to me. There we go. Now we got more space. Okay, so on the Home tab here, we're going to see some of the recent activity and monthly downloads on our account. This is a demo account that we have pulled up here, so there's not going to be a whole lot of data. As you can see, we have 2 claims from this one landing page here that happened somewhat recently, and we don't have any downloads yet this month on this demo account. But your account, this might look different, especially if you started sharing books with your readers. You're going to be able to see where those downloads came from, etc., what the total monthly downloads you've had so far is, and that sort of thing. Of course, keep in mind that the monthly downloads that your account allows depends on your account plan and things like that. And then some of this data is also, again, it's going to be within the last 30 days. So if you want to see more detailed data, you're going to want to go to specifically your landing page details for a specific landing page to see more long-term data and that sort of thing. Now, I do want to turn your attention up here to this upper right-hand menu. A couple things up here. The videos link, this will take you to bookfunnel.com/videos. This is actually another part of the BookFunnel website where you can find webinars and orientations. Now, a lot of this stuff now is on the YouTube channel. In fact, the vast majority of it. There's a few things on here I think that aren't on the YouTube channel. They may be a little outdated, and we did some updated versions of them, that sort of thing. But this technically is another resource right here from your dashboard if you just wanted to head over there. One advantage to YouTube, and to be honest with you guys, this actually may change to links to those YouTube videos in the near future. The one advantage of YouTube is that if you're watching a video and you leave a comment, you can get a response from myself right there on YouTube and as an answer to your question. There is no way to do that here from this page. That's the one thing. We want to eventually switch this over to that, but for your convenience, it's still here. There's also a link here to the Calendly page. If you click sign up now, that will take you over to where you can register for new sessions and so forth that we have upcoming. Now, the calendar, if we were turning to this menu here, the calendar icon is going to open up, well, a calendar where you can view upcoming BookFunnel calendar events you have going on. How this works, especially if you're participating in promos and swaps, that's what's really going to show up here. If you're joining promos or doing swaps with other authors on the BookFunnel dashboard, those will show up here in this calendar. And so that's where you'll see those. But you can also add custom events here. So maybe you are running an ad campaign on a specific day, or you're doing a Kindle countdown deal or something like that, and you want to have a record of it here on your dashboard. You obviously don't have to rely on this calendar for everything, but hey, if you wanted to, you absolutely could. And you could add a description and a link and so forth to any one of these days for a custom event and have that here on your calendar. You can also receive notifications from BookFunnel by email about those calendar events. Now, the help icon. This is perhaps the most important one here in this upper right-hand menu. That will open this sidebar where you can search our author knowledge base. Excuse me. So if we just put in a topic here, let's say we're looking for certified mail, right, which is our ARC delivery feature, right? We can search the author knowledge base. Is it giving me a hard time here? Let me try promo. Here, there we go. Okay. There we go. And it will pull up a list of articles here from the author knowledge base that I can then click over to and head over and read the full article. This is, for example, an article about first-time authors in group promotions, and we'll go into some details about that. However, the author knowledge base is a very large resource with articles on all different topics. Many of them are step-by-step articles showing you how to use certain features. So I highly recommend that you also check out the author knowledge base. Like I said, you can search it from here, but you can also just head over there and browse. Now, also on this little sidebar here, you can contact BookFunnel support. And so this is an email subject line and message body. So you can put in whatever information you need help with here, click get help, and that will send an email to our author support team. Our team, we try to be as snappy as possible in our response. When an author contacts us with an issue, we try to get back to you as soon as possible. We answer emails multiple times a day between the hours approximately of about 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Most of our team is located in Central Standard Time. So if you fall outside of that time zone, maybe for those of you across the pond or down under, for our friends over there, you might be awake while we are asleep, so just keep that in mind. But otherwise, we try to be fairly responsive and get back to you as soon as we can. Occasionally, if there is an issue that requires multiple responses, we'll also respond to you throughout the day. And we can also refer larger issues that do sometimes come up onto our engineering team if there's maybe a bug or something that's going on that we can solve. That occasionally happens as well. So if you encounter any issues like that, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want to get those things resolved for you. So one last thing here in this upper right-hand menu is your accounts tab. And this is where we could go to log out if we wanted to. We're not going to do that right now. That wouldn't really be helpful, but we're going to go look at our account settings real quick. And this is where you can find all the info about your account. You can change the name associated with your account, email, password, etc. I should note that all this information here is confidential. BookFunnel does not share this information with readers. So if your account is under your legal name and you're using a personal email, you don't have to worry about this information being shared. You can also add team logins. This would allow you to grant access to your account to other users so that they can log into your account. And you can update your billing information, update your plan as well, both your regular account plan and an audiobook plan, as well as view your billing history, suspend, cancel your account, etc. So anything about your account you can manage right here from your account settings. Now, we're going to turn our attention here briefly to this left-hand menu. I just want to go over all of these elements here in brief. I'm going to touch on them. I won't be able to go in depth because obviously we're going to get to your guys' questions here in just a little bit, but I do want to touch on each of these. So the books tab on your dashboard, once you've created books and added them here to BookFunnel, this is where they will show up. And they'll show up here in a list that you can sort. So you can sort them by name. You can sort them by author. You can sort them by the number of downloads and the date they were created right here. By clicking the name, that'll take you to the book's details page, which I'll open in a new tab here. So you can see that will open the details page for us. And I can click this gear icon to edit the book directly, upload new files, add landing pages for the book, or even delete it from my dashboard, for example. Right, so we have a lot of versatility right here. There's also submenus to break it down if you have ebooks, audiobooks, and short audio to make it easier to find the books that you're looking for. Now, the landing pages tab, very similar. Once you've created landing pages, they're going to show up here on this list, and we can sort them again by name, by the book that they're associated with, the date they were created, but we can also copy the link to a landing page right here from this page. Right? So I could copy this landing page link and share it somewhere, post it somewhere, whatever I need to do with it. And then again, the gear icon gives me the option to edit the page, duplicate a landing page, expire it, or delete it relatively quickly. So I can do a lot of actions right here from the landing pages tab. And again, there are submenus to break everything down. So if I have email sign-up pages that I want to look at, I can look at just those. If I want to just look at my universal book links that link to other stores, I can just look at those and sort through those as well. So these submenus are very helpful for that reason. Now, certified mail, gift-a-book, and bulk delivery are three similar features that we have on BookFunnel. They all do something a little different. First of all, they all send a book directly to a reader. So I should mention that first. Certified mail is our dedicated ARC delivery feature, and it allows you to send private links to up to 500 readers a month by email. And BookFunnel will send an email to those readers. When you create a certified mail campaign, and I should note, certified mail is not a feature available on every plan. If you're on the first-time author plan, you don't have access to this feature, but it is available on the mid-list author plan and all higher-level plans. The same is true for gift-a-book, bulk delivery, and print codes, I should mention here before we go any further. But I've created a new certified mail campaign. I have a lot of customization here. I can customize the name. I would add in my list of email addresses for the readers I want to send the book to, and then I can customize the email that they receive. That gives them some information about reviewing the book. I can also add a reminder email that will email them halfway through the campaign and a follow-up after the campaign is over that provides them instructions on how to review the book or where to review the book. And you have some other customization options as well. Now, when you send a campaign, BookFunnel will email those readers with a private download link that will give them access to the book, and they can download it, read it, and then obviously whatever campaign settings you have set up will follow up with them to follow up on the review. Now, gift-a-book is similar to certified mail in that you put in a reader's email address and select a book to send them, and we will email them a private link. However, gift-a-book is intended only for one reader. And so when you gift a book to someone, that link is sent to them and them only, and you can only send one at a time. This is just an easy feature for you to send a book to someone real quick and easy. I'm saying easy a lot, but that's because it is easy. Right? Gift-a-book is very straightforward. It's not a huge, robust feature, but what it does well, which is just sending one link to one reader at a time. So if you just need to get a book to somebody for some reason, real quick, probably the fastest way to do it is gift a book. Bulk delivery. This is similar to certified mail in some ways. You'll see here that I can add a list of email addresses, just like I could with certified mail. By default, this limit is also 500. However, bulk delivery, you can request to have unlimited bulk deliveries if you need them, and we can add that to your account, no problem, by request. Bulk delivery delivers in a different way, though. Instead of sending an email with a private link, that book is added directly to the reader's BookFunnel library, where they can log in at my.bookfunnel.com using their email address and then access the book that way. In this regard, it makes it a little bit more secure. There's not a link floating out there on the internet, right? Some people, our private links do a very good job of limiting access to a book, but technically a certified mail private link could be shared. However, I should say that if somebody shares a certified mail private link or any other BookFunnel private link, they're probably not going to get access to the book themselves. The person they shared it with might, but they probably won't. So that's on a security front anyway. That's what you should know. But bulk delivery is really not so much intended for security, but for convenience, specifically when you are delivering books that are, say, rewards for a Kickstarter or are your monthly Patreon patron rewards, something like that. In those cases, you're going to be communicating with those readers largely on that platform. So let's say you're doing a Kickstarter. You might have their email address, but they're not going to be receiving email from you. You're probably going to be communicating to them through Kickstarter. And so you can simply deliver the book to their Kickstarter email address and tell them they can go sign in and find it there. and communicate over Kickstarter rather than relying on email, right? If you have readers who are already on your newsletter and they're used to receiving email from you, then certified mail makes a little bit more sense. But we created bulk delivery for those cases where either you're not really communicating over email, you're communicating through some other means. And in the cases where you need to send more than 500 books a month, right, as well. Now, group promos and author swaps. We don't have all the time to go over group promos and author swaps, but they are here on the dashboard. These are two cross-promotional features that we have at BookFunnel. And group promos allow you, there we go. Group promos allow you to browse all the major genres that BookFunnel has to offer and find other authors who are in your genre and niche to cross-promote with one another. A group promo will essentially be a giveaway for multiple books. All the participating authors will throw at least one book in, and then each author will share the link to that giveaway page with their own audience. Most of the time, readers will be signing up to join your mailing list in order to download your free book. So readers who come from other authors' mailing lists and show up on the bundle page will download your book, join your list, and you can grow your list that way. There's also sales promos to kind of do effectively the same thing, but to get more sales traction on your books. Now, for author swaps are similar in that it's cross-promotional. However, it is intended to be one-to-one. So it's you and one other author, and so you can find another author in your genre or niche. So say if we let's look at action, adventure, Westerns. Well, we don't have any authors in that one, but let's look at science fiction. Here we go. And so we can find science fiction in here and see, okay, here's an example of an author we may want to swap with if they match our, okay, horror, paranormal, science fiction, fantasy, and horror, right? So maybe we landed on horror instead, but if this is a good fit for you, then you could swap with that author and cross-promote each other's books. Now, the sales tab is where you're going to go to set up direct sales through your online store, if that's what you're looking to do. BookFunnel can integrate with several platforms. Most notably, we have recently added Fourth Wall, which is a great platform that can handle, is a merchant of record, so it can handle taxes for you. But there's also Gumroad, PayHip, PayPal, Shopify, Thrivecart, and WooCommerce. You can also connect through Zapier in order to connect BookFunnel to some other sales platforms out there that we don't directly integrate with, but those are the main ones that we allow you to integrate with. So if you set up a store with one of these platforms, you can have BookFunnel deliver your sales and follow up with customer support for your readers. And then lastly here, BookFunnel print codes. This is the last feature we're going to go over. Print codes allow you to create batches of printable download codes that you can add then to physical media, things like postcards, pamphlets, etc., to give away digital copies of your books at in-person events. They can also be used to sell your books directly at in-person events as well. Now, there's a lot more we could go over here on the dashboard, but I want to go ahead and turn it over to your questions now. And I see we probably already have a few in here, and that was kind of my plan. Go over the dashboard. Inevitably, some people are going to have some questions, so I'm going to go over those here. It looks like we're starting with Gregor has a question, but go ahead and put your questions in the Zoom chat. You can just start firing away, and I'm just going to go from the top and scroll down. If we have questions that are kind of the same, I might try to group them together here a little bit. But I'll go ahead and go over your questions. You can ask anything about anything we talked about on the dashboard, any questions you might have had from watching the orientation sessions, or even if you're having trouble with anything on your dashboard currently. So for starters here, Gregor has a question. If nobody reads your book, how do people go to BookFunnel and how is it useful? I'm trying to set up a landing page for my book and want to send people to Amazon to purchase it. Frankly, I'm lost at the many things that need to be filled in, and the video only helped a little. Well, Gregor, sounds like you're trying to do something very specific. I know the orientation is kind of generic and it's trying to show you how to set up your BookFunnel account. So when you are trying to get to something specific, I can totally understand how it might seem like you weren't getting your question answered. If nobody reads your book, let's kind of break this down. So nobody reads your book. How do people go to BookFunnel and how is it useful? Well, BookFunnel does not drive traffic to your books. So if you put your books up on BookFunnel and create a landing page, we do not drive traffic to that. You have to drive traffic to that landing page somehow. Now, there are BookFunnel group promotions that BookFunnel helps organize. However, the traffic in those promos isn't coming from BookFunnel. It's actually coming from the other authors that are in the promo with you. Now, this is a good way to get some traffic to a landing page just for already, having your BookFunnel account, right? You're not paying anything extra if you already have a BookFunnel account. So it can be useful in that respect, right? But otherwise, you will need to be generating the traffic either through advertising, through your own newsletter, maybe through social media, whatever traffic channels you have available to you to get eyeballs on that landing page, to get eyeballs on your book on BookFunnel. Now, if you're trying to set up a landing page for your book and want to send people to Amazon, a universal book link can be useful for that. We have some examples of a universal book link. In fact, let me open this here. So this is an example of a universal book link. It has a direct store link in the button, and it also has a link to Amazon, but you can customize what shows up here. You can use this type of landing page and link to it wherever you need to link to it, and it can send people to Amazon just fine. You get the kind of the nice presentation here of being able to customize this page if that's what you want to do. You can also customize the domain link that appears here if you wanted to match your own domain and that sort of thing. So there is a lot that you can do with BookFunnel, and it can become overwhelming. I can understand that. Gregor, if you have further questions, anything else that I can clarify, feel free to ask a follow-up question in the comments here as well. But that would be kind of the short answer to both of those questions here. So a question here from Jeanette. Would short audio be if you were doing serialized audiobooks or excerpts from an audiobook? Is there a limit for it to be short audio? This is a good question, actually. And so, yes, you'll notice when you go to add a new book, you have, in some cases, if you're on the mid-list author plan, you'll see that you have the short audio option. And if you have audiobooks, an audiobook plan added to your account, you can also add an audiobook. Now, short audio is a feature that is already available on the mid-list author plan. It allows you to upload a single MP3 file of up to 120 minutes in length, so up to 2 hours long. So by no means a full-length audiobook, right? So if you're doing serialized audiobooks or excerpts, that it could work very well for that. The audiobooks feature allows you to upload multiple MP3 files. Typically, it's like one MP3 file per chapter, right? And then arrange them in order. You can add a cover to both versions, both short audio and an audiobook. So that part of it isn't really different, but there's some different functionality with audiobooks as well. Right? So if you're doing something shorter, again, 2 hours or less, then short audio could work for you. And that's already included in the mid-list author plan. All right, Sherry-Ann asks a question. Could you give an example as to why someone might use certified mail? So certified mail, like I said, is our dedicated ARC delivery feature. So if you have an upcoming release and you want reviews on it, and the book is otherwise ready, it's ready for readers to see, but the publication date is maybe, 90 to 180 days away, right? 3 to 6 months away. And you want to have some reviews lined up for release date, certified mail is going to be your best friend. So what you would do would put out a call to action to your subscribers, ask who would be willing to read and review your upcoming release. And it's important that you ask them both, right? Read and review, and then see who volunteers, add them here to a certified mail campaign. So you would add those emails here, customize the message with follow-ups and reminders. BookFunnel is not going to be able to hold them accountable to write the review, but we will follow up with them with that follow-up reminder email to provide them instructions. You can just provide a direct link, especially if it's on Amazon, where they can go and leave a review. And it kind of helps automate some of that process for you of getting reviews for your book. That's how you might, why you might want to use a certified mail. All right, question here from Shonda. I am new. MailerLite is my email automation. Do I have to subscribe to the mid-list author plan to connect my MailerLite account? Do I need MailerLite if BookFunnel has email automation? Okay, so good question. So we're going to go over to our account settings here, Shonda, so I can show you our plans. So the mid-list author plan does allow you to collect emails. However, BookFunnel, we're not a mailing list service, and so we don't have email automation like what you're probably looking for. Now, the base mid-list author plan allows you to collect email addresses. However, integration is an upgrade to that. So you'll see the mid-list author with integrations. This is the plan that you would want. And there are annual and monthly options as well. So if you want to pay for the year, you do save a little bit. It's $150 for the year or $15 a month if you want the plan with integrations on it. That would be the lowest level plan with integrations. Our higher level plans, bestseller, and our publisher plans also include integrations. But to answer your question, yeah, BookFunnel, we don't have email automation in that way. So when somebody joins your list, they're not going to be getting emails from BookFunnel. BookFunnel will only email readers when they've requested something from us or they're contacting BookFunnel email support or BookFunnel reader support. Excuse me. Mary has a question. I always get confused on how to set up and then preview my landing page. Can you go over the landing page setup? Absolutely, Mary. So if we're going to create a new landing page, and you can do this with an existing one too. In fact, that might be more helpful. Let's go to one of our existing landing pages, and I have this page example, right? So if I click the name, this is going to take me to the details of the page. I'm seeing everything that I've already done and set up for this page. I can review all this information. I can review the download stats, the landing page settings, but I can't make changes here. In order to make changes, I would have to come up to the action button and then click edit page details. And I can obviously do that, and we can show you that. But if you want to preview your landing page, you can do that right from here by clicking the preview button under your landing page settings, and this will render a preview. And then you can see that how it will look on different devices as well. And likewise, for your thank you page, let me minimize that. For your thank you page, we can do the same thing. I can review the settings and I can preview what the thank you page will look like after they have downloaded the book. So this is after they've claimed it and joined our list. Now, if I wanted to make any changes to that, I would just edit the page details. And that takes me back here to where I can customize all of those fields. I can make changes to all of these things, and then I would just scroll down and click save or save and close. In fact, if you create a new landing page, you'll come to the same place. Most of the stuff you'll have to either fill out or select specific settings that you want to use. So hopefully that answers your question. Main things are the action button up here, and then you do have those previews. Just make sure you're going to the landing page settings. One thing that sometimes authors get confused with is where their landing pages live and where their books live. If you go to your books tab and you click on any one of your books, you're not going to see your landing page settings here. You're going to see your book settings, your files, and so forth. Now you can see a list of your landing pages, and we'll see this book has one landing page, and so that can get me to where I want to go. But sometimes it's easier to just go to your landing pages tab first. All right, question here from Keto. Is it necessary for readers we share books with through BookFunnel to have a BookFunnel account? So good question. No, it is not. However, the process of creating a BookFunnel account, quote unquote, for readers is actually very simple. In fact, readers don't really we don't call it an account. We call it their BookFunnel library. Their BookFunnel library is created automatically for them the first time that they ever receive a book from BookFunnel and submit their email. So if they claim an author's book by submitting their email, or they have a book sent to them with certified mail or bulk delivery, their library is automatically created for them. And it's created under the email that the book was delivered to. So they don't have to do a lengthy account setup process. All they have to do the first time they log in, and there are actually ways for them to start reading without having to do this. But if they choose to use their BookFunnel library, all they have to do the first time they log in is set a password. And once they've set a password, then they're good to go. There's no more account setup process beyond that. Obviously, they have to have a password for security reasons, right? So that's the one thing that they have to do. But they don't have a lengthy account setup process. And a reader would actually never have to set up their password for their BookFunnel library, because in many cases, they may not need to actually access their BookFunnel library. Now, their BookFunnel library, they can read their books there and so forth, and so it's convenient in that way. It also is a repository of all the books that they've ever received, and so they can use that as kind of a way to store books for future use, or if they want to offload them from their actual physical device, they can keep them in their BookFunnel library and have them stored there. But yeah, the process is pretty simple. Okay, question here from Denise. How do your universal book links compare to books to read? Do they cover paperbacks? And also, I sell my print books direct via BookVault and WooCommerce. Will these be included? Okay, so universal book links and books to read. So they're similar in concept. Excuse me. Let's see if we can pull up what's a good. Okay, this is actually the one I wanted to open. Yep, here we go. Okay, there we go. So similar in a sense, it's obviously going to look a little bit more like BookFunnel. You're going to have some different options here. Obviously, this button is customizable. You can have that go wherever you want. You can add, these are almost all of the stores that we've added. We recently added a whole bunch. And so a lot of these are new, as you can see here, right? You can customize these various heading sections and so forth. So there's just a lot more customization options. And then you can add separate sections for audiobooks and paperbacks that each have their own button and heading and icons and all of this. It used to be there was only one section and you had one button and so forth, but now you have all of these multiple sections here that you can use, and so that you can specify. Now, the icons for the stores that we have, those are limited. That's the one thing, but you can add links to other stores. So you'll see here, there's this link under here. But a lot of times, if you're selling direct, most authors, we recommend that you use the big button for your direct store. And that's what you put there. Right. With some of our new landing page features where you can add images, you could also add your own store logo, as a sort of button, if you will, here and use that as well. So you can use that to kind of create a custom button, if you will, to your direct store. I would recommend if you were going to do that, if you were going to add an image to a landing page, and I should preface by saying that does require the bestseller level plan to add an image to a landing page other than the book cover. I would use your logo, or maybe even create a custom button that incorporates your logo and says something like "Buy from me direct" or something like that, if you wanted to use that and have that here in either this heading section or one of the other sections. And so you can customize it in that way. Now, there is the one thing about BookFunnel universal links that differs from Books to Read. Books to Read, I believe, can scrape data to find your books on all those stores. That's one thing that the guys there at Drafted Digital have on us. No, they're great over there. In fact, Books to Read is a great resource and tool, and you can actually use the Books to Read to scrape the links to all your books if you are wide, and then add that to your BookFunnel universal book link page, and then we can find those links from there. So if I'm editing this page here, I can fetch from Books to Read. If you click that, you can put in your Books to Read link and it will fetch all those links for you. So Jeanette has another question here. I didn't see Stripe in the integrated pay options. Are there any plans to add Stripe as an option in the future? At this point, I don't know that that's on our roadmap. However, there are ways to still kind of set up an automated delivery for a third party. It's a little advanced. So you could set up Stripe. You would need an integration between BookFunnel and your mailing list service like MailerLite. I know we'll work with this. And then you need MailerLite and Stripe to be integrated, which they can be. And then you sell products in Stripe, and then MailerLite handles moving them to a specific list. You have that trigger an automation and then deliver a BookFunnel restricted page so they can download that way. So that's the way to do it for now. I don't know if Stripe is on the horizon for us or not. I'm not a part of our dev team, so I can't speak to that specifically if we're looking into that. I know we have a couple other sales integrations we are looking to add, and Stripe has been requested in the past, so it's possible. But at this point, I'm not sure. So Susan asks, you said certified mail can be used to manage ARCs. I have recurring advanced readers. Does BookFunnel maintain a master email list for me to use book after book? No. So BookFunnel does not keep a list of readers. Your readers are your readers. And so we do not keep a mailing list. We do not contact your readers or sell their email addresses or give them out to other authors or anything like that. The only time we contact your readers is, again, number one, if they go to a BookFunnel landing page and they request a book to be emailed to them, or they engage with a landing page, they'll get emails depending on what they're doing. But that's strictly related to their downloading of the book. Like, here's your files, or you need to confirm your email, things like that. Or if they contact BookFunnel reader support because they're having trouble. But no, we do not have a list of readers that we provide to other authors. What I recommend you do if you're looking for them, participate in group promos in your genre with a reader magnet and recruit reviewers from that whole process. This is actually something I talked about in one of our recent webinars on reader magnets, was the idea of a review magnet. So requesting reviews right off the bat from a free book, seeing who follows up, and then recruiting people from there. So that recruitment process is what you need to be having going on in the background in order to keep that recurring, if you will. That's what I'd recommend. So Randall asks, can you talk about integration of a Kickstarter campaign? How do you transfer the email list from Kickstarter? And what does it cost to have BookFunnel distribute to the backers? So good question. So let's start with cost. Cost is just the cost of your BookFunnel plan. So the mid-list author plan is the lowest level that has access to bulk delivery. That's $10 a month or $100 a year. Right, so that would be the cost right there. There's no additional cost to have access to certified mail or to send certified mail to a certain number of backers, right? You do have to request if you want to send more than 500 per month, but that's simple. We just add that at no additional charge. Getting the emails from Kickstarter doesn't involve an integration. You would need to download the emails in a CSV format, or if Kickstarter shows you a list of those emails, you could copy and paste them over. So if I'm here in bulk delivery, oops, I double clicked. Here we go. Here I am in bulk delivery. There we go. I would just select the books that I wanted to deliver and then copy and paste those email addresses into this field and then deliver to those readers. Then you would communicate with them through Kickstarter or whatever other communication channels you use and say, hey, the books have been delivered to you. Go to my.bookfunnel.com and log in with the same email you use for Kickstarter. And they've got their books. Alex asks, what would be the best way for someone on the new author tier to use BookFunnel to get more newsletter subscribers? So I'm assuming you mean the first-time author plan. The first-time author plan does not include email collection. And so this is a question that we get. The first-time author plan, of course, is $20 a year. And so it does give you a decent suite of features, but this is something that some authors do frequently ask, like, how do I, if I'm on the first-time author plan now for budget reasons or what have you, I still want to collect some emails. Two things you can do. When you have a landing page, let's go and edit this landing page. First of all, here, if I use a custom text on the landing page, I can put text in here and then add a hyperlink to this text. And so I could add a link to an external form through my mailing list or what have you, or they can join my newsletter there. Not everybody is going to click that. Some people are going to download the book and they're not going to click it, and that's no problem. That's just kind of the way it is. But you do have that option to put a hyperlink there on your landing page. The other option that you have is to actually put that in the content of your book. And so have that be in the front matter and the back matter of the reader magnet or free book that you're giving away on BookFunnel. And that's what I recommend you do. If you're using sales pages, you can also add links for them to join your mailing list on sales pages as well. But if you are maybe doing promos and you're wanting to give away your reader magnet, those are the two things I'd recommend you do. Put a link on the landing page and make sure you have a link and a call to action inside the book itself. So Susan asks, how do I see where downloads come from? So that's a good question. Would need to know a little more specifics about what you mean by where the downloads come from, because BookFunnel will give you some information. BookFunnel will know like some country data and that sort of thing. But really the way that you know where certain subscribers come from or certain downloads have come from is actually by creating separate download pages or separate email collection pages for different sources. So I don't have a great example here, but I do maybe under download pages. And what I recommend you do is actually name your download pages based off of how you're using them. So you'll notice a lot of these are for the same book, or a lot of them are for Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, right? Because when we do demos, that's what we do. So this is our beta reader copy sent to our newsletter. And this is our beta reader copy that we sent to our Facebook group. And this is the version with bonus chapters that got sent to our newsletter. And this, let's see, this is our beta reader Facebook group again. This is our reader magnet sent to our newsletter, right? And so you'll see here, I've named all of these. There's some other ones in here, some other demo books, but I've named some of these differently depending on how I'm using them. So this is for maybe a subscriber reward page, right? An extended edition sent to our newsletter. I try to come up with creative, different examples of this when I do these demos. This one here for group promos. And so what I can do is I can go to this one for group promos and I can see, okay, how many downloads did it get? Now, this is a demo page. It hasn't been out there, so people haven't downloaded it, but I could see those stats. And if I'm using an email collection page and I'm gathering those emails, then I know, okay, they came from that specific place. I can also, with email sign-up pages, let's edit this page. I can also use, and this is an advanced setting, but I can send custom fields to my mailing list service. This is if you're integrated with your mailing list service. And I can send a custom field that will be added along with that subscriber data so that I can mark them and say, hey, they came from this. And that way, once they're in my newsletter, I know also where they came from, or I have them kind of marked in that respect. All right, Mary asks, hey, Jack, I tried to set up a reader magnet as a book, but got a Kindle issues detected. What are the most likely culprits? I used Atticus to format. Well, Atticus is usually pretty reliable, so I don't think it would be an issue with Atticus. I would need to look at the book files. In all honesty, Mary or one of our team members would. So I recommend you contact BookFunnel support. And in fact, what I would do is go to the book on your dashboard, open it up, and then click the help icon and send an email from here. Because when you send an email from a specific page, it automatically gives us the link to that page that you were on. And we can take a look at the book and see what was going on with the files and help you troubleshoot that. So there's a couple different things that can be going on. We can usually help you figure it out. All right, a question here from, I think, Barbara. How do books move from BookFunnel library to the Kindle library? All right, so let's go to a landing page. Let's pick one here. Yeah, we can use this one. This one should be fine. If I open this page here, so this is a simple download page. This one doesn't collect emails. It's just a basic download page. If I click Get My Book, you'll see that I have a variety of options here. I can choose Kindle, for example, and that will give me directions on downloading the Kindle file. Usually we have folks go to amazon.com/send to Kindle. This is the most reliable way to do it. There are a couple of other older methods that some folks do still use. Generally, though, this one is the simplest and most reliable, and that's how they make it to the Kindle library, is through Send to Kindle. And that's Kindle's own service for adding books to your Kindle library. Chelsea asks, can you do promos and swaps if you don't have anyone on your email list yet? This is a great question. Chelsea. Yes, you can. Now, I will preface that by saying a couple things. Some promos will have a requirement, and I'm not going to be able to find one here. I'd have to dig through a ton of them. But some of them will say that you have to have an email list of a certain size. And so you'll want to pay attention to that when you are looking at promos to join. So for example, let's find one here. This one happens to be hosted by yours truly. I am a science fiction author myself, and I host promos on the BookFunnel dashboard. And so in this case, I have nothing that says here under the requirements, you have to have a list of this certain size. Right, so you'd be fine to join one of mine, but other promos might say in here, like, no, you have to have at least 500 or something like that. Now, if you're going to do promos, first of all, I'd say do promos before you do swaps. Swaps, you need to have an email list established. But for promos, you can start from zero. And I recommend you do newsletter promos. Don't do sales promos yet. And I recommend that you actually, I know for some folks, see, promos last about a month. And so you're going to start getting subscribers to your mailing list right away, right from the beginning. You do have to share that promo with your newsletter. So at some point, you have to share the link to that promo with all the other authors' books with your newsletter, right? You have to do your part. And so what you can do is you can wait a week or two to share the promo. And by that point, you've already gained new subscribers, and you can share that promo with them. Now, some people, when I tell them that, they kind of balk and they're like, well, you're just sending them a link to the promo that they found you from already. They've already seen that promo. Fair point. A couple things. Number one, I'll say readers sometimes do like to go back and browse books anyway. So I don't think you get a lot of people upset with you. And number two, the other option is do two promos and take the readers from promo A and put them in a separate group, and take the readers from promo B and put them in a separate group. And when it comes time to share, you send the readers from promo A to promo B. You send them the link to promo B, and vice versa. This is only really something you need to do when you're just getting started, because once you're doing more promos in the future, it's most of your subscribers you already have on your list. It's going to be kind of a moot point, but that's how I would do it. Let's see. All right. So we have a little bit of time here. I think I got through all the questions in the Zoom chat. So I'm going to go to some of our questions submitted in advance. So here we have a question from Lisa. I keep hearing about author email swaps or list building through BookFunnel, but I don't know how it works. Can you explain how to grow your email list through BookFunnel. So this is a good question here. Also, a question here from B. Allen. How many promos should you run in your newsletter? So I'm gonna go ahead and answer both of these. Right. So for starters, can you explain how to grow your email list through BookFunnel? I think I might have kind of done it just now, actually, as I was answering Chelsea's question. That's how I would do it. If you're starting from scratch, join 1 or 2 promos. I wouldn't do more than that. And right, sign up, wait a couple weeks. You have to set a share date when you join a promo. So wait a couple weeks into the promo and then share it halfway through. You've already gained some subscribers. By the time you're a couple months in, you got the ball rolling. That part of it isn't really going to matter as much, right? But that's how you would do it, is through group promos. Find promos that are in your niche, right? Find promos that are in your niche and in your genre, and join those. Make sure that it is a promo that is a good fit for you. So if you write in science fiction and fantasy, you'll want to make sure that and here's how you would do this. Go to your promo settings and go to your specific genre and check all of the boxes that you wouldn't mind seeing your books next to, right? So I write space opera, military sci-fi, so I can select those, but I know that my readers are probably okay with just generic science fiction. They're probably okay with steampunk. They're probably okay with time travel. Urban fantasy, not so much. Lit RPG, they're fine with that. Fantasy, dystopian, apocalyptic, alien content, or contact, all that's good. Superheroes, maybe it's a little different for my genre. So I'm okay with my book being listed next to books that are all of those, right? For example, right? And now when I save my promo settings, and it's going to take a second here, it's going to reload. Now it's showing me all the promos that match that. And I can see, okay, yeah, that one's a good fit. Now, to answer B. Allen's question, how many promos should you run in your newsletter? If they are going to be in the email itself, I would not do more than 2 or 3. What I recommend you do, though, is create a promos page that could be something like this. And actually, I'm giving you a preview of the workshop we're about to start here in a few minutes. This is created on BookFunnel. These are links to promos and links to swaps. And that way, I share this one link in my newsletter, and I can do more than, you see, I've got 3 promos and 3 swaps here. I could do more, and it makes it more efficient because I only have to put one link in my newsletter, and I can do more than, I can do more swaps and promos that way. I'm going to show this a little bit more in the workshop that's going to be starting here in just a few minutes. So let's try to get to a couple more of these questions here before we have to wrap up. A question from Kez. How do you edit the content of the book blurb on your landing page? All right, so that's a good question. So you can do that in 2 places. You can edit the book details, and we can edit the book's description. We have the option for this to show up by default on our landing pages as one of the default options, or I can edit my page details. And if I want to, I can just use custom text. So this is where you'll see I can use the book's description. It'll pull that blurb from the book details, or I can use custom text that will appear only on this page. So that would be one of the ways to do that. And let's see. Question from Sophia. I wrote an erotic fiction piece and Smut Report has agreed to review it. They said to submit the ebook through BookFunnel, or I could do it myself. I'm waiting for the formatted interior pages. How do I submit through BookFunnel? I'm brand new to all of this. Okay, good. So in this case, it's a external reviewer. So what they're asking you to do is send them a BookFunnel link to download the book. So a simple download page link or something like that, or send it through Gift-a-Book probably, right? So that's what I would do, is just use probably the Gift-a-Book feature in my opinion is probably the best. You would just add the link to that review service, right? And this is fairly common in the industry. A lot of those review services will receive a book through BookFunnel, and that's how they'll do it. So a question here, this is from chat. This is going to be the last one for today, folks, because we do have to wrap things up. Denise asks, is there a way to find authors in a more specific genre than listed? For example, climate fiction. Yes, although it can be tricky. What I recommend you do, especially if you're getting started out, and if you know you're in a more niche subgenre, know that it might be a little bit harder for you to find other books like yours on BookFunnel for promos and so forth. Swaps, you might have a little bit better luck with, because you can find maybe those handful of authors that are also writing in that specific niche or subgenre. Right, so that's where I would go, and this applies to all genres too. So I see a question here from Freddie about nonfiction promos. Swaps for nonfiction and for smaller genres and for niche genres are probably better. You might have to do some generic promos to kind of build up a list, but swaps might be better for you in the long run because a generic nonfiction promo that has a book on business and a book on training your dog and a book on gardening isn't going to appeal to a whole lot of readers. So you might want to find a couple of those authors on BookFunnel that are like more in your niche. And if you know authors outside of BookFunnel that you would want to swap with and you want to use, invite them to come join BookFunnel, give it a try, you can invite them to one of these orientations or tell them to check out our YouTube channel with our webinars and so forth and get more authors in your subgenre. We have some other ideas on how to kind of grow some of those smaller niches too. That's going to have to wait for the future, though, I'm afraid. So, all right, now we are going to be wrapping things up here. We have our new feature workshop that we're going to be going over here in just a moment. I am going to grab the invitation for that, and I will put the link here into the Zoom chat so people can check that out. That is bookfunnel.com. There we go. Got it. And that is the link to the upcoming workshop. We're going to wrap this Q&A up for here today, guys. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you guys can join us in the workshop. A replay of this Q&A will be uploaded to the YouTube channel, so you guys will be able to go back and watch it and so forth and see it all from there. Now, if you have trouble joining at all the workshop, email help@bookfunnel.com. I'll make sure that they get you guys the link there as well. But that's going to be it for today, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Hope you found it helpful. If there's anything else that we can help you with, please let us know. Again, just contact us, help@bookfunnel.com, and we will be there to help you out with any questions you might have. Have a good one, folks. Hopefully we'll see you in just a second. Bye. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos from BookFunnel, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.